Pathogens are organisms that cause disease when they get into our body. In fact, the word means to generate or create disease. Path, like pathology, is the study of diseases, and gen is to generate or create. So in other words, pathogens are the bad guys. Now, there are all kinds of pathogens. There are bacteria, viruses, fungi, parasites, but the two most common pathogens that we see in the human body are bacteria and viruses. And we're going to study how the immune system responds to pathogens by focusing on bacteria and viruses, though many of the same tools will be used towards other pathogens. Now, for each of the pathogens that our immune system has to fight, it has to have a unique strategy that works towards that pathogen. And this we can really see when we compare bacteria and viruses. It becomes evident that each one of these is going to require a different strategy. To begin with, bacteria on average are about 5 microns or micrometers in diameter, whereas viruses are 0.02 microns in diameter, which is a difference of about 250 times. So if you imagine that you were in an army and you had an enemy to fight, if you had an enemy to fight that was the same size as you would have certain strategies. But if you had an enemy to fight that was 250 times bigger than you, then your strategy would be pretty different. So size matters. Also, structure matters. Bacteria are cells. And so they always have a cell membrane, just like our cells do, and many of them also have a cell wall. These represent places where we can target bacteria with things like antibiotics. Anything that ruptures the cell membrane or prevents the cell wall from forming is going to be harmful to the bacteria. Viruses, on the other hand, are not cells. They exist in a protein capsule that contains nucleic acid material, sometimes DNA and sometimes RNA. In terms of a host, bacteria do not require a host. They will grow anywhere that has the right pH, temperature, and moisture, which in some cases is the inside of your body, but it could also be in that jar of sour cream that you left in the refrigerator for too long. Viruses, on the other hand, are not able to replicate on their own. They require a host to replicate. They have to bring their genetic material, the DNA or the RNA, into the host cell and then use the machinery of the host cell to make more viruses. It's like the biggest trick ever. The last thing is location. Bacteria, because they are cells and they don't require host cells, we will usually find outside of our cells. So in terms of the immune system being able to target them, they don't have to go looking inside cells. However, viruses, because they do require a host, are usually found inside the host cells. So we have to find a completely different strategy for determining whether viruses are there and how to get rid of them.